Anyway,
Can
let's
I
talk about
respond to something you said?
Please.
Last night, Zelenskyy played Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Congress like a fiddle. All of a sudden, Nancy Pelosi has taken the Ukrainian flag, but when she had a chance to say the Union address with the Trumpster, she rips it up on national worldwide television. I don't get it. There are 125 to 200,000 Americans die every year on the border of Texas from fentanyl, from heroin, from human sexual slavery. It is similar to the Atlantic slave trade, in which tens of millions over a period of time are coming in here, being employed in ways that are wrong, and children are being raped and men are being killed. We defend the borders of Ukraine, but not Texas? How does that make any sense? I'm an American. I think Vladimir Putin is a mass murderer and a war criminal. Put him on trial at The Hague and hang him. But let's face it, I care a lot more about El Paso than I care about Kiev. I don't understand how we can obsess over the idea of helping Zelenskyy, who, by the way, gave, I think, the Bidens tens of millions of dollars, but we don't guard Texas? Are you kidding me?
Now, one thing. First of all, my main response is this. Calm down, because you can do two things at once. You can protect your border and care about a fledgling democracy that is the gateway.
We're not protecting it.
Hold on.
We're not protecting Texas at all. Just the opposite. We're doing the opposite of what we should. How about caring more about Texas and the Ukraine?
I think that's a false premise. I think you must do both. And the fact that you're not happy about the border doesn't mean that you go bad on Zelenskyy. That's a specious argument. Doesn't make any sense. Zelenskyy has nothing to do with the border.
All over the world, there's people being brutalized. I mean, I feel sorry for the Ukrainians, and I know what's the American interest in the Ukraine that may give us a thermonuclear war. Can you tell me what is the American interest?
What do you think happens if Russia gets what it wants in Ukraine?
It's a European problem. The Ukrainians,
really?
It's the poorest country right now.
You're not part of NATO?
Tens of billions of dollars have been wasted. They've blown up utilities. I'm an American. I love this country. There's all kinds of brutal regimes all over the world, from North Korea to Africa to Asia, all over the place. It's happening everywhere. And now you got Nancy Pelosi waving the Ukrainian flag while tearing up Trump's State of the Union address? Are you kidding me? Come on, Chris.
Bill. I can't agree with you when it doesn't make any sense. What does her tearing up the State of the Union address, which was a low moment for Nancy Pelosi, said it then, say it now, bad form, not what she's supposed to be, shame on her. What does that have to do with her celebrating the president of Ukraine in the middle of a war?
I can't recall any other person in American history, Speaker of the House, waving a Ukrainian or any foreign flag in the well of the House of Representatives.
Well, she wasn't saying that she's Ukrainian and not American.
When Rush Limbaugh was getting the Medal of Freedom, it was a disgusting moment. And I don't understand.
Bill,
don't you care more about El Paso than Kiev? Shouldn't we treat the crisis on the border with the same urgency that we're dealing with the Ukraine? I want to talk about Dominion, Chris, but I think you're way off base.
Wait, of course, obviously you do. I get it. I'm just saying, I just think it's a false choice. You care about the border because you're playing politics. You see one thing I don't understand, somewhat perversely. Why is Ukraine something that the right needs to attack? It's not a Democrat issue.
I don't attack it. I prioritize it. You talk about doing both things at the same time. We're not protecting Texans. You can't use the ER. You can't go to public school.
So then criticize that.
Millions of people.
Criticize that. Force debate on that. Force a deal on that. It has nothing to do with Ukraine. And I don't know why you want to talk about Dominion. Dominion is the biggest shot to your buddies over at that news organization I have seen since the big ABC case, Food Lion. I mean, for them to say that they knew what they reported was false, let me hear your defense of that, Counselor.
I think Sean Hannity is one of the greatest of all time, who belongs on the Mount Rushmore of talk radio. And Sean Hannity, I think, played devil's advocate. He listened to three individuals, Jenna Ellis, America's mayor, and what's her name? It eludes me at the moment. And he relied upon what he was told by his producers. He was relying upon what he was told by those individuals. It turned out to be false.
Hey, thank you for watching. please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.